All right, so this video is going to show you how to do a manual lymphatic drainage massage. So there's lots of different methods and different ways that it can be done. You can also have a professional do it for you, but there's a really simple way that you can do it for yourself on a regular basis. So especially if you have any type of swelling, so after an injury, or if you just notice that your body just happens to take on or keep on a lot of fluid, then it's important to assess and look at what your body's doing in order to ensure that you are helping to clear and move the fluid, i.e. the lymph, through out of your system. So one of the first ways to kind of what I'm calling like prime the pump. So we have lots of lymph nodes around our neck area, above the collarbone, along our armpits, and then in the inguinal area. So, but then the big one is called the cisternae chyli, and that is located on the left side. So you have your heart is on the left side, then you have the abdominal aorta, and then the cisternae chyli is one of the largest lymph nodes, and that sits pretty much right next to the abdominal aorta on the left-hand side. But one of the best ways in order to make sure that that pump is moving really well is through diaphragmatic breathing. So I'm not going to talk about it here too much, but that's one of the things that you would want to do first, is to make sure that your diaphragm is moving optimally when you're breathing. So essentially that every time that you're taking an inhalation, the respiratory diaphragm, which is a dome sitting underneath your rib cage, is pushing down on your abdominal contents, causing distension, or for your belly to expand outward. And then with your inhalation or with your exhalation, then it's going back up. So it's this constant movement. My bottom hand is the pelvic floor diaphragm that I'm just showing, but it's this constant movement that's going up and going down as you're breathing. So you can, whether you have a mindfulness practice, then that can be part of it, but then that just helps to ensure that you are doing diaphragmatic breathing. So I would do that for, about a minute. The next thing that you're going to do, so you can do this either sitting or standing, but probably standing is going to be best, especially for the last part of it, is that you're going to get into the lymph nodes around the neck and also above the collarbone. So if I'm doing this on myself, then I'm going to cross my arms, or cross my hands across my chest, and my hands are sitting essentially above my collarbone. So when I'm doing lymphatic drainage, the movement is very subtle. So it's just enough, you can try it on your arm, but it's just enough that you're seeing the skin move. So it's not a deep, hard pressure. So it's just enough that the skin is moving as you're doing it. And again, with lymphatic drainage, because we want to make sure that we're moving things back up through the circulation. So the movement is going to be an up and an in, okay? So you have your hands here. The movement is just enough that you're feeling that skin stretch. So it's just like a skin stretch. So I'm moving up and in. So I'm kind of doing a circle. So it's an up and an in motion. So up and in. I'm going to do this 10 times. Okay. And then you're breathing all the while. Make sure that you're applying firm but equal pressure, but not too much pressure that you're squeezing things. It's just enough to move the skin. Then next, I'm going to go to my armpit. So I'm going to do one side at a time. So I'm going to grab a hold. So if you can see, so I'm grabbing a hold of my armpit. And so again, it's going to be an up and in motion. So up and in. So if you've ever been sick, then you might have noticed that you have enlarged lymph nodes along your neck. For anyone who's had any type of, like even just during PMS, or someone who has gone through cancer. So there's a lot of lymph nodes that tend to be affected just underneath an armpit. And if you happen to get breast tenderness, during your menstrual cycle, during your period, then this can be a really great way in order to make sure that you're moving things through. Because a lot of that breast tenderness is just like the flow isn't happening very well. So then you can do this lymph pump. And so I think that was 10 times. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, it's a little bit of a squeeze, but just enough that you're moving the skin. I'm doing this with my shirt on, but you can also obviously do this with your shirt off as well too. So you can actually feel for that skin stretch that you are applying. I'm going to call that 10. So then the next one that you're going to do is at the inguinal area. So I'm kind of making my hands with a V. So it's the pinky side of my finger is going to be just along that panty line on the either side. So again, there's lots of lymph nodes just along this area. So if you have a tendency to have like a lot of bloating, a lot of congestion, everything just kind of stays in this area, it's important to look at, you know, what's happening. Like, are things moving in the inguinal area of the lymph nodes in that area? So what you'll do is you're just going to be rubbing 10 times, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then that's helping to prime your pump. So again, it's going to be your diaphragmatic breathing. You're going to be working along the upper area, so above the collarbone, either side of your armpit, then the inguinal area. And then if you don't have any specific area of swelling and you're just doing this just to kind of, you know, clear or move fluid, especially if you have a lot of bloating or you're just holding a lot of water, then you can do this cycle about 2 or 3 times. If you have a particular area, so especially after an injury or you're dealing with, you know, an issue where you, part of your body, like your ankles, they tend to get swollen a lot, then what you'll do after priming the pump is then you're going to take that particular area. So I'm going to say, for example, my knee. So after like a knee surgery, and I'm having a lot of swelling. So I'm wearing black pants. You can kind of imagine that you have like cat hair on your pants. And so you're just, you know, using your fingers to wipe away the cat hair. So obviously I would probably be doing it downwards, but that's not the movement that you want for the lymph. Again, we want to try to move it back up towards the heart. So I'm using my fingers just to drag all along the front, the side, the back of my knee, and I'm going to do this 10 times. So obviously, like if it was at the ankle and the knee, then I would start at the ankle first. I would do that 10 times, then I would move up to the knee. So again, you want to make sure the movement is all moving upwards towards the heart. So you want to start furthest away, then work your way up towards the center. So I would do that about 10 times. If you need to do on both sides, and you can go ahead and do that. And then I would go through what I did here. So again, at the upper area, armpit, inguinal area, just to help to encourage that movement of the fluid. Okay. So I would recommend something that you can do on a daily basis, especially if you are dealing with some type of fluid retention or swelling. Obviously, just following the protocol that your doctor has given you if you are, you know, status post any type of surgery. So continue with swelling and elevation if you need to take medication for it. But I've seen a lot of really great results with doing this lymph drainage massage, and if you're doing that on a regular basis, in addition to elevation, even compression, you know, can also be really helpful for swelling and for any type of fluid retention. So give it a try. Feel free to reach out with any questions, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.